So after 8 years, Fear the Walking Dead is finally over as we get the last 2 episodes released back to back. And instead of doing one video for each episode, we're going to do both of them in this one video to wrap it up nicely. So beginning with episode 11, we see Troy gathering a herd of walkers because he's done that once before, why not do it again? While he's in the truck with Tracy, they activate a trap which makes them and the vehicle go flying. Neither of them die, but Troy does wake up with something pierced through his upper chest. Tracy comes over to him to let him know that they went over an embankment, and I think that's a lot of bollocks that she even knows the word embankment, but anyway, Tracy then runs away to try and find some help, and then we get the opening credits, and as they finish we see Madison and Victor speak over, you guessed it, walkie-talkies. Victor pleads with Madison to not go and take Troy on alone, but then when we see Madison go into the truck, guess who happens to be there? It's Tracy. So yeah, what are the chances? But we must remember from last week that she is an expert in directions.
You know, that's some bullshit.
She's there because she thinks that if she uses the radio, someone might hear her. Have you not watched the show, Tracy? The radio is like the room of requirement. Tracy tells Madison that Troy is down an embankment a mile east of their location. I mean, thank goodness she's a walking compass, I guess. With this information in mind, she leaves the truck to walk to that location. She has the MRAP, by the way, because I guess she just thought that's mine now. And she also put Alicia's arm in there because we're going to need that later to point to it when we're mentioning Alicia. Anyway, we head over to Troy, who's speaking on the walkie-talkie with Russell. Not too long after, Madison appears and takes down some walkers, and then him and Madison scrap, and Madison kills Tracy's mum, the walker who's still there right where they need her to be. So you could say Tracy's mum has no longer got it going on. When Madison does kill Tracy's mum, Troy's like, you've got no right, she was supposed to kill you, get the hell out. So Madison has gone from full determination to kill Troy to now it can wait because of not knowing the location of this herd. But then this herd which is coming will have to come via boat because Padre is an island. So just man the island, no? If there's any boat coming across, you shoot them or you throw a spear at them. I don't care, do something at them. Like, what is going on? Strand and the Alicia fan group find the MRAP and Tracy, and that group, it's just, they're just so stupid. I'm sorry, they're just so bloody awful. Anyway, going back to Troy and Madison, Madison lets Troy bury his wife, aka Tracy's mum. He then says that he killed Alicia because she spread her kindness to people, and that kindness got Serena, his wife, killed. What? I mean, any normal person would go after the actual person who killed her, which was someone who dialed in a fake SOS call. You'd go after them. You wouldn't go after the person who's given that person inspiration to do something helpful. Like, what's going on? Next, Madison looks around and takes her eyes off Troy, which means he has an opportunity to hit her with a shovel. He runs into yet another trap, and with Madison also this time getting captured by Crane. Yes, remember Crane, the brother of Shrike? Yeah, me neither. He wants to know where this herd is as well because he wants to get Padre back. They're once on a barge and then they're next in a truck. They're all over the place, but they're trying to find this herd. While in this truck, the driver gets shot by Luciana and Daniel, who just happen to be there. Daniel and Luciana take Madison and Troy away to some cabin or something. They leave Crane though. Crane's just left to do what he wants. I don't know why they just left him, but yeah, they left Crane alone. Daniel and Luciana talk to Troy and are trying to understand why he's being kept alive by Madison, so she fills him in on what's going on. Apparently there's 5,000 in this herd. 5,000 in just some random herd which has just come about in this episode alone. Like, this is in, like, you know, in the past of Walking Dead where we have the herd being built over episodes. No, this is just sort of sprung up from nowhere. Madison and Troy then go off and they're in the swamp area, and guess who's there? It's Crane. It's like we're just playing tag now. They see a rope bridge which goes over this quicksand, so they say, oh, let's not go over there. But then when Crane comes to them, they could run left, they could run behind them, but no, they run across this bridge, which was really stupid. But anyway, they do that, and then Crane, of course, slices up the rope at the other end, the bridge comes down, and they're in the quicksand, ready for their death. Earlier he was shooting at them, but now he's like, you know what, you're in quicksand, I'll just watch you slowly die. Madison shouts and brings some walkers to him. He's awful and gets completely overrun by them and gets killed.
You serious?
As Troy and Madison are apparently about to meet their death, Troy comes clean to say that the herd is in the northwest corner of the swamp, and of course they do know where Padre is because Tracy saw that lighthouse, you know. Later we see Madison waking up and we think to ourselves, well, how did this happen? Well, that's because Troy grabbed the root and grabbed Crane's axe, which was quite far away, but he grabbed it and he saved himself and saved Madison because he looked into her eyes and he must have had some sort of epiphany. Anyway, now they know where the herd is, they take the MRAP to gun down half of the herd, and then June and the other lot come back and they help break up the remainder. And when this all happens, Russell lets out a no, which was very funny.
No! No! No!
Madison's breathing problem strikes again because that just comes up whenever the plot needs it. And then later we see Madison kill Troy, and Troy reveals in his last words that Tracy is Alicia's daughter. Tracy witnesses her father's death and runs away, and now with Madison realizing that that is apparently her granddaughter, she screams out, "Tracy! Tracy! Tracy!" And so that brings the end to episode 11, which was not very good. Troy doesn't like Madison because Madison put an idea in Alicia's head to help people. That idea then passed on to Serena, which got her killed. Oh my god, it's all so stupid. And so the big thing to come out of this episode is Troy dying. Was there much point in him coming back at all to the show? Not really, but then that's been the case since season 4. Like season 1 to 3, great, but season 4 onwards, you don't have to watch it because there's not much you're missing if you don't. So how does this all wrap up in the finale? Let's get onto that one right now. Firstly, we see Tracy hiding in the woods and she gets saved by walkers just in time yet again, and this time it was Madison who saves her. Madison coughs a lot and tells Tracy that they're going to find Alicia and put her to rest. We get the last opening credits where we have all the characters from the show, which was a nice touch. I'll give the show that, to see all the characters' silhouettes there. But then as the opening credits finish, it's walkie-talkie time again with Luciana this time, speaking with Daniel until Madison points a gun to the back of her head. She needs Luciana to help her with directions, but then I was thinking to myself, why not just ask Tracy, right? Luciana speaks a lot of waffle, and then Madison helps tend to Tracy's injured ankle. Tracy gives a necklace from Alicia to Madison, and then it all starts to escalate as Tracy grabs Madison's gun. Strand and Co turn up and say they want to take Tracy to Padre because that's the safest place. Madison shoots to the sky and that gunfire attracts a load of walkers, so they all have to run inside. While inside, Frank tells Strand on the walkie that they have their own walker problem at Padre, with a boat of walkers being released onto the shore. These are all coming from Troy's men, but they do have Russell captured at Padre, but he won't call off any attack until he gets to speak to Tracy over the radio. He does briefly speak to her, but he mostly speaks to Madison and reveals that Troy only stabbed Alicia and that he told Troy that she turned. However, the morning after Alicia and Troy's fight, he found bloody footprints leaving the scene, and so he wants Tracy and says that for Madison, she should go out and find her daughter. Dwight tells Russell that the walls are 10 feet high, but Russell says to him that they don't plan to get them in, they plan to get you out. And right on cue, an earthquake of bullshit happens. Dwight later asks him, how did you do that? And he says that we had a couple of grenade launchers ready for some time, and we were just waiting until I finished talking to let rip. I'm not actually sure why they're attacking Padre, considering that the whole point of this fight is because they wanted a new place to live and Padre was a good place for them to live, but instead now they're just taking down Padre and destroying it. Really clever idea. With all this going off, Strand is worried for Frank and Klaus, and so he leads an attack on the walkers outside. Back over to Padre though, Dwight issues a battle cry and orders flares to be shot, opens the gate and feeds Russell to the walkers. At this point, I'm not really sure if they have guns or not, because a couple episodes ago they had that gunfight, but do they not still have guns? I mean, if they had guns, they could have shot those ones at the shore, they could have shot the people on the bloody boat. I mean, I don't really understand what's going on in terms of their weapons at the moment. Like, if they have guns, this should be an easy job, especially if they're stationed around the perimeter of the island. Madison and Co take down those walkers off screen, and then we see Daniel have a go at Strand once again, this time for fighting for his family, while at the same time putting his in danger. Luciana gives Madison directions and a can of gas and then wishes her well, because why not? I mean, I don't really understand these characters. One minute they're against the character, next minute they're fully supportive, they're all over the place. Madison tells Strand she's not going to go to Padre to help the fight because she's got to go and find Alicia and is in no state to fight. Even though she literally just fought a load of walkers, and it is her fault that this situation has even happened. So yeah, at this point, Madison is a terrible friend. Strand basically says this, and lastly tells Madison, if you find Alicia, tell her I tried. And if you remember last video, I said that they were stealing from their own shows, and I honestly thought they were going to just nab this line.
I want him to know I tried. hell, I'm still trying.
Anyway, moving on from any potential copying of Daryl Dixon, Madison tells Tracy about her father and how he used to drink and hit her mother. Madison says it got so bad she shot her father, and then Tracy pulls yet again Madison's gun and this time shoots Madison. We then jump over to Strand, who calls for help and says it can't end like this, and then screams no. We skip to the next morning and Tracy is there with Troy in walker form because yeah, she found him. She found him, alright. She says to him that she looked all night to find him. Yeah, nice idea that. And then shoots him and buries him herself apparently as well. And then out of nowhere, Strand just finds her and he fills her in on what happened last night and that Madison didn't die and that in fact the bullet was stopped by the medallion. Okie doke. And then just like she did with the stadium, she does that whole rescue mission again with the flare, and yeah, that's apparently how everyone got saved. After hearing this, Tracy grabs yet another gun and runs away. We then find her picking a flower for Madison after, get this, apparently dragging Madison on a stretcher. So yeah, this kid dragged this adult on a stretcher up this place, by the way, it's up somewhere. And then also, she's got antibiotics because thankfully Troy taught all the kids in field medicine. She also says that it took half a day to dig Madison out of the rubble. Anyway, then we see Alicia return.
No way!
At this point, I was absolutely flabbergasted. I couldn't believe it. But no, in all seriousness, that's how we all thought they were going to end the show. What I didn't think was going to happen though was her bringing back Daniel's old cat, Skidmark. And it is ironic that this show wants to finish with Skidmark. So how did Alicia find Madison and Tracy? Well, apparently someone told Alicia about a person called Madison sacrificing herself. Alicia says it didn't make any sense, which pretty much hits a nail on the head, and she didn't know how her mother could possibly still be alive, but she had to check. Also in this scene we find out that Alicia is in fact not the mother of Tracy, and it was actually Serena. So yeah, of course there had to be one more twist with this Tracy character, like, my goodness. But then it's like, why did Troy say that at the end of his life? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, let's get on to the last bit, which is June, where she says she's going to go back to the cabin where her and the cowboy used to live. I can't remember his name. Was it John? I think it was John, right? Anyway, yeah. And Odessa's going to go with her to learn medicine. Dwight and Sherry say they're going to go out and try and find the parents of the Padre kids, but then Dwight suggests to Sherry to take them all to the sanctuary. You know, the place which fell apart last time they were there and has an awful history for them. Yeah, why not? Let's go back there. I mean, it just seems like such a forced way to get Dwight and Sherry back into the Walking Dead universe in terms of them maybe appearing in Dead City. But it's so stupid that they think to do that. I mean, if they're really that bothered, why not just rebuild Padre? Daniel and Strand finally reconcile, and Daniel even speaks a bit of German to him and says that he's tired of war and says all the best. So that's finally all been put to rest now, thank goodness. Strand says his goodbyes to Luciana, and Skidmark comes to Daniel and he's completely gobsmacked, like, how has this happened? But yeah, he's got Skidmark back, so he's happy. The flower that Tracy picked earlier is in Strand's truck, and then Strand sees Madison, Alicia and Tracy in the wing mirror and has an emotional look on his face, and he is the only one now who knows that they're all alive. So you might be thinking, why do they do all this secret shit instead of just going over there? And you know, especially in regards to Alicia, because she's not seen these characters for many years. Well, apparently they'll do better thinking Madison is gone, because that's what happened with Alicia, and so they'll take their place as some sort of prophet, and while they're dead, the people there will do better because they're not there to give them a reason to stop believing. And even in the inside the episode, they called it the myth of Madison. Anyway, Madison, Alicia and Tracy head to LA because they think it might be okay there now, and after some thank yous from the actors, the show finally comes to an end.
Well, that was fucking dreadful.
So yeah, if you can't tell already, this ending of the show was completely terrible. This whole final season's been trash, let's be honest. I've got to just say, it's been bloody awful, really. I mean, the writing's just absolutely terrible. You know, there's a lot of love from the actors to the fans, which is lovely to see. And I've said all the way, but I do sympathise with them because they for sure want to deliver a well-constructed show with their characters, but they've been let down by this amateur writing. I mean, there is some talent there as well, like Colman Domingo, who plays Strand. He has a bright future, it seems, with upcoming appearances in The Colour Purple and Drive Away Dolls. There is no clear pathways for these characters to appear in other shows. I do think Dwight and Sherry will do because of that tease to go back to the Sanctuary. and I think Madison, Alicia and Tracy will do at some point. But probably really later on when we get to the real end game of the whole series. I am a completionist, so I did at the very least get the satisfaction of that, and seeing Madison and Alicia reunite was something I was happy to see. But in regards to other content on The Walking Dead, I will be doing a few other videos between now and The Ones Who Live, so keep an eye out for those, and any suggestions of other TV shows to cover alongside movies, feel free to suggest them below. So how did you find the end of Fear the Walking Dead? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below as well, and as it's all over, on screen is a video for something probably completely different.